and welcome to Threesome, the most provocative talk show on TV where no subject is taboo. I'm Stoya, and today we'll be answering your questions about love, dating, relationships, and of course, sex. We've sifted through all the messages, emails, postings, and today we're going to give you our thoughts and advice. It wouldn't be a threesome without my two guests. She's the queen of house aerobics and the female member of the Andrew WK band. She's going to make you work. Please welcome the incomparable Sherry Lilly. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Stoya. Thanks for having me.
You may recognize him from Round Trip Ticket or Big Brother. Here to nurse you back to emotional health, the handsome and charming Will Weichel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
And just in case our conversations get serious, we have our own resident doctor on call, Dr. Frank Spinelli.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Thanks for
Frank.
having me.
All right, let's get started. We've received hundreds of questions, and you deserve some answers. So our first question is, my boyfriend is perfectly adequately equipped, but I know I can and definitely want to take more when we have sex. If I buy toys and say I want to try some new things, does that make me look pushy?
I don't think so. If you got to take control of what you want, and if that's what, if you want two dicks, then you want two dicks. I mean, right? Come on. I don't know. It depends on how open the relationship is, like with each other. As long as he doesn't feel intimidated by it, I don't think.
I think it depends on how you broach the subject, too. Like, if you're like, I need this and you're going to do it, then yes, that's pushy. And if you say, I would like to experiment, or my orifices are big, gaping, greedy little sluts, and I just need everything in the world stuffed into it right this second, then that's maybe not so pushy.
Well, I'm kind of along those lines. It's like if my boyfriend said that he wanted to have sex with me and have like two dildos in his ass at the same time, it's sort of, it would always make me feel a little inadequate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that once you take it to that place, it might change the tone.
But a lot of girls need clitoral stimulation to have an orgasm, so the penetration sometimes just doesn't do it.
Well, yeah, Sherry, tell me about this, because, I'm not as familiar with the female orifices, so I really do want to know. It's not really about the girth. Stoya, feel free to chime in too. It's not really about the girth, but the action on top, right?
Everyone's different.
Right.
Everyone is so different. There's the G-spot in there, and then there's the clitoris, and then it could actually be about the girth more than the length.
Okay.
Because the first 3 inches, Dr. Frank, have more nerves than
Well, actually,
Dr. Frank, come on.
Well, I'm not an expert in the vagina. I think when you read the question,
You went to
it was
medical
interesting.
school?
No, I'm just being honest. When you read the question, I was interested to know if it came from a woman or a man, which I think is important.
I don't get that information.
Yeah, you don't get that information. And I think it's interesting the adjective that person describes, it's adequately. So you already feel like not adequate enough.
Right.
I think, if you want my opinion on this, I think whenever you're in a couple, it's all about communication. And you just said it perfectly. It's how you broach the situation. If someone came home and brought like a bag full of toys and said, let's try these, I would feel like, whoa, maybe I am not enough. I think if you're in a situation where you're in a couple and you start experimenting and you say, maybe we should try some stuff, or what do you think about this? Then I think it's different. To answer your question, yes, clitoral stimulation and the clitoral orgasm is usually almost the largest percentage of how women orgasm, so to speak. You did say everybody's different. I agree. And probably, to answer the question about girth or length, it more or less is the girth and the first few centimeters that are going to provide more of the stimulation, because you have to remember, it is a blind wall. You will hit a cervix. So if you are very super long, you're going to stop
A
at a certain
blind
point.
wall?
It doesn't go on forever.
No, it doesn't.
The vagina does not
It doesn't come out your mouth.
Yeah. And if it does, you should be in a movie.
I love it.
All right, Sherry, what do you have over there?
Okay, let's see. I've recently been hanging with my boyfriends, Ty, Jay, and AC, a lot more. One night, we all went out and got really drunk. It was a group of 3 of us, and when we got back to Jay's, him and Ty passed out. And me and AC kind of made out. Should I tell my boyfriend and risk hurting his feelings for something that me and his friend both admitted was a mistake and wouldn't happen again, or try to move past it?
No. I mean, if you realize that you're never going to do it again, you know, I think that would be the most...
Yeah, I guess it depends how far they went, right? How far is making out? If it's just kissing, would you say something?
No. I mean, I wouldn't say anything if we had sex, but again, that's just me. I'm thinking that we all make mistakes, you know, and I think that in knowing that, you have to think about what would you want your boyfriend to do, and if there really was no emotional connection and it was a one-time thing and they were never going to do it again, I would think I wouldn't even want to know, because it would cause me to ask questions that would sabotage our relationship.
See, I like to just tell everybody everything, because otherwise I will lay awake at night worrying about, like, what if someone else says something and then next thing you know, and then you get confronted with it and it's like, well, what do I do? Do I tell them now and then admit that I kind of lied by omission, or do I, like, flat out lie? It just gets very complicated. Honesty. Honesty.
Yeah, I think honesty too.
I don't buy the whole got drunk and did something I wouldn't have done in real life anyway. I don't buy it. When people lower their inhibitions and they do stuff, I think they just wanted to do it anyway. I think the bigger question is this person looking for an out in the relationship and made mistakes on purpose by just using the vehicle of drugs or alcohol? So.
All right, so I have a question that perhaps Dr. Frank could chime in on. And this question says, is there such a thing as natural Viagra?
What Viagra or Cialis or Levitra is works on nitrogen. And they found that when they were using it for another use, which was for heart disease, they
invented it to try and do
nitric
blood pressure
oxide,
pill,
yeah.
right?
So it increased the flow of blood to the penis. Honestly, there are natural drugs that would work in the same way, and one of them is yohimbine. I don't know if anybody uses yohimbine on a regular basis. If it was, then there probably wouldn't be a need for Viagra in the first place. But there is natural ways to increase your testosterone. DHEA also works, and I prescribe that a lot. It's over the counter. Yohimbine, although I don't recommend it because I don't really know much about it, is a natural way to obtain an erection. But you know, now we have drugs that work that are FDA approved, so I don't know why you wouldn't use those.
But also, and then you can get an erection that doesn't go down, right?
Yes, that's one of the side effects. In a small percentage, you can get a prolonged erection.
Scary.
If you get an erection for more than 4 hours, call me. No, go to the emergency room. Or I'll be at the emergency room.
I never think there is such a thing as an erection that lasts too long. But moving on. My boyfriend is bisexual, and I'm afraid he thinks he can sleep with women while we are together. How do I deal with this?
So his boyfriend is bisexual and wants to sleep with women.
It appears that the question writer has a bisexual boyfriend and is afraid that his boyfriend is going to sleep with women, but has not actually addressed it. And that is the best way to deal with that, is to have a conversation with your boyfriend about what he wants to put his penis in and how comfortable you are with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you'd have to get me started on bisexuality in men, which I think is a very sensitive issue, because I feel like I didn't want to say that, but once you got a dick in your mouth, it's hard to. I don't know. I just feel like I feel like with the bisexual women that I've met, I readily believe. I find it. And this might be my thing, but I find it readily believable. I see them going from relationships with men and to women, and it's very fluid. I've never, to this day, in my 30 years, met a man that is truly bisexual.
There's a part in the book Sex at Dawn that they had a little bit of evidence, but they talk about men's sexuality being more concrete, like it forms in your early sexually explorative years and then that's it, and women just naturally have much more fluid sexuality, and I could believe that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Next.
Next up.
This is a good one. Is there a way to sober up instantly?
No.
Snort a line of cocaine.
Well, maybe if you threw
Just
up,
kidding,
right?
just kidding.
Probably
Don't do
throwing up
drugs, don't
might,
do
but I don't know
drugs.
about sobering. You still have the blood alcohol, and so I would not recommend, thinking that you were sober to get behind the wheel of a car. I think the best way to sober up is time, sleeping it off, and then worrying about the hangover
A Philly
tomorrow.
cheesesteak sometimes works a little.
Grease. Grease is always the best policy in that option. Okay, I have another question, and that is this. I've been seeing this guy for about a month, and we have amazing sex. Haven't done anything wild yet, but I do have a kinky side I've been dying to show. How long should I wait before gauging his interest in fetishes or trying new kinky things?
I mean, depending on how kinky he's going for, I would say a few months would be good, just to get, comfortable sexually, intimately, just them two, before they start bringing in some whips and chains and whatever they want to do. Maybe I don't know, what do you think? 2-3 months, something like
I
that?
consider a full discussion of sexuality foreplay, actually. We've already done that by the time I'm touching someone's genitals.
Right.
So yeah, maybe right away. Got to feel it out.
I'm into it.
Oh,
Okay, I
oh
agree.
boy. Dr. Frank's turn again. One drunken night, I hooked up with my neighbor. I think I gave him an STD. Now I avoid him at all costs. Should I approach him or run scared? That is the most irresponsible thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. You really have to go and talk to them. Dr. Frank?
I feel very strongly about this. I think if you have an STD, the onus is on you to tell people and to avoid sexual contact. I treat STDs on a regular basis. I diagnose probably HIV weekly. And I think if you are a sexually active person and you are having sex, even with other people, or if you think you're in a monogamous relationship, you don't be fooled. Get checked annually. I get very mad when patients come in and say, "Oh, but I'm in a long-term relationship." I don't care. Maybe you are, but maybe your partner isn't. So you need to get checked at least annually. If you're a single person, at least more frequently, 3 to 6 months. But if you are diagnosed with an STD, then you should call everyone that you've had sex with recently and tell them, and not worry about how that's going to make you look, but be more responsible for their health, because they're probably going to spread it to other people.
I actually have a very hot button issue that I find people divided on often. So say if someone is HIV positive, right? And they meet someone at a bar, they go home, they're gonna have a one night stand, and the person that they're with doesn't ask their HIV status, okay? But the HIV positive person is careful to take precautions, safe sex, all of that. And so if the person that they're having sex with doesn't ask them their HIV status, are they bound to tell them? I think no. I think that as the other one in the situation, I'm not HIV positive, and if I'm with someone, I feel it's my responsibility, if that's a concern, before we go there, to ask.
Well, let's think of it this way. I think you're absolutely right. You should ask, and I think the way to approach it is you meet somebody, things are going well. I'm not saying it's the first night. It may be a relationship that's budding. And I say, you know what, I went to the doctor. I'm HIV negative. I'm STD free. I want to tell you that. And then it would make the other person say,
Right.
"Oh, well, I don't know." Or "I do know as well." The one night stand issue annoys me, because what if you had sex with somebody who is HIV positive and the condom broke and he goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm positive"? You'd want to wring his neck. So I just think you have to ask, you're right, but I
don't
think,
know though, because I think it's still
Well,
my fault for just having sex without asking to begin with.
people have killed people over less, and I just think we all have to take some responsibility for ourselves, and I think that's a discussion that if you're going to get into a situation with somebody, you might as well fess up. I know it's hard to tell people because they think it's the deal breaker, but it's unfortunate. These are sexually transmitted diseases. They can happen. And I think if you have HIV, an STD, herpes, or anything, you're going to go to that next step with them. You should really tell them. I understand what you're saying. It should be the other person that asks me,
Right.
asks me about it. But what if there was an accident? How would you live with yourself knowing that you might have, exposed somebody to something? I always think of myself first. Like, how would I feel in that situation?
And we have a phone message that probably contains a question.
Hi, Threesome. This is kind of embarrassing, but I thought I'd call in with a question. I prefer to bottom, but I don't have anal sex very often. When I'm really turned on, I want to have anal sex, but it hurts. Even though the guy that I'm with really, really loosens me up, I'm still uncomfortable. Only once in a blue moon does it feel great. How can I prevent the pain of anal sex? Looking forward to your answer. Thank you.
No, I can take this one. The best thing that I found, if you are interested in having anal sex and performing the role of bottom, is start by kissing, sort of getting into it, and then perhaps maybe your partner will insert his finger. And I'm sure, as Frank will tell you, there's 2 anal sphincters, right, that you need to loosen up in order to accept a dick or 2 dildos or whatever they're trying to put in there. And then I think that I've had a lot of feedback of friends that say that actually sitting on top of their partner and sort of sliding down on the dick and then maybe perhaps letting it sit there for a minute, maybe doing some kissing, whatever. And then I think you will find that after a little anal foreplay, we should say, you might be ready to start bobbing up and down.
Yeah, I agree. I have my toilet paper roll.
Such a lady.
Yeah, you are very good. And no, if you think of the anal canal as a toilet paper roll, the inside, there is the external anal sphincter and the internal anal sphincter. Those are muscles. So what happened is he's anticipating the pain, and the natural response is to want to push out. So you have to learn to train yourself to become receptive. So although those are all great tips, finger stimulation is good, getting on top is good. The best thing to do is have your partner insert just the head into the external anal sphincter. That will cause it to tighten. Then you relax, you kiss, do whatever you do, take your Lamaze breaths, whatever works for you. And then after a few seconds, you have him slip it in further. That will get the internal ring. Again, it'll clench down, you breathe, you kiss, you get into it. And then after that, you have him then pull out and go back in, and slowly. And if you do that, you will actually be more receptive than if somebody just shoves their dick in your ass, which you will then get a hemorrhoid, you'll bleed, and it'll be very ugly. So if you practice that, and actually you have to actually practice, caller, you will be a very good bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got over there.
Me, oh my God. Someone told me that my cum tasted like old milk.
Oh.
I don't believe them. Is it weird to taste my own cum? No, I don't think so. I think if somebody told me my cum tasted funky, then I would want to see if it was right. I don't think cum tastes like anything, really.
You know, I've tasted my cum. I don't know if it tastes like old milk. There's not really much you can do about it. Everybody thinks nutrition changes it. There used to be an old wives' tale that if you eat a lot of carrot juice, it would change it. Most people think it's protein. Really, it's just sugar. It's fructose. So yeah, it's not good calories.
For the
Everybody
girls
thinks
on the Atkins diet, this
Yeah.
is not going to be good
it's not good
news.
for you. Don't put it on your face. Don't
Add a
drink
few-
it.
add a few
no.
bugs to that.
Yeah.
Do you ever taste your vaginal juice?
All the time.
Oh, you do all the time. Do you ever taste your period?
Accidentally,
I
yes.
knew a lot
It's
of girls
gone
who
from, like,
tried that
things
once.
to
I don't know.
Things and, yeah, it's
I was
not,
wondering if
it's
I
not
had
yummy.
a period, if I would try it.
It's not.
It
I would not
tastes
go out of
like
my way.
blood, though.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a cut and you were sucking on your cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blood.
right. Makes sense.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go out of
Right.
my way to like get it in my face.
Well, I don't mean like, suck on your pad or anything. I just meant,
Oh my god. Oh boy, scarred for life. Right. On that note, we have a video question right here.
How many penises can you fit up your asshole before it's dangerous?
I really want to know if we're talking about disembodied penises here.
Right.
Because I feel most you can get in there is 2 with everybody's legs involved.
Right. Frank, an entire bag of dicks, or
Studies
half.
show. I really don't know. I mean, but I would urge them not to practice aggressively.
Well, now I've seen those videos on XTube where people are putting like
How many? 2?
No, but I mean, like they'll put like big wine bottles and
Yeah, but I mean,
my
look
God,
at the
that glass
penises
jar
attached to
guy.
humans. I
the
mean,
glass jar guy. He's who I'm talking about.
Oh, I saw that.
Well, first of all, that's going to be very dangerous because it could lacerate your anal canal, right? So you don't really want to experiment
Don't
with
put
like
glass in your
glass
butt.
objects and things like that.
You know, I mean, glass, no. I mean, but if people do a lot of crazy things. When I worked at St. Vincent's ER, we pulled a lot of things out of people's vaginas and rectums. But he's asking how many penises can you put inside your rectum before it's dangerous. I just can't see how you could put more than 2.
Yeah, like she said, I think that
And that's a
yoga.
lot. I mean,
That's a whole lot. More than I can handle.
right.
Not forget it.
That's even a lot for us. Okay.
I just think that he has a lot of deeper questions he needs to talk with a professional about.
Oh my goodness. All right. I think, is it Will's turn?
Is it me? I don't have any more.
Then it's my turn.
Oh, yeah, I got one.
Oh, boy.
All right, this is one I got here. My friends think my boyfriend is ugly. I think he's adorable. How do I tell them to fuck off in a nice way?
Fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're not being nice, so that person doesn't have to.
Yeah, who cares if your friends think your boyfriend's ugly? If your boyfriend is adorable to you, then that's all that matters.
And I bet he's got a big dick.
And that's a bonus if he does. so.
Right?
All right. Will, you want to wrap us up here?
Well, Stoya, this is a question that really hits home with me. My boyfriend's dog always watches us have sex. I hate it. But he said I'm being dramatic. He lives in a studio, so there's nowhere else to go. What can we do? I have dogs. I live in a studio. And I do think it is weird when dogs or any animals are watching you have sex. So what I suggest he do is get a dog crate and then perhaps get a towel, a quilt, some covering, and allow them to have, dogs love bull pizzles and all sorts of fun things they can buy at the pet store. Have a little stash for when it's boom boom time. And put the dog up, give him a little treat, and then you can have a little treat. And everybody's happy.
Yay!
Yes.
I like that. All right. That sure is a lot to think about. It seems that our time is up for today's discussion, but I'd like to thank my guests, Sherry Lilly,
Thank you.
Will Weichel,
Always. Thank you.
and of course, Dr. Frank Spinelli.
I like the way she says that.
Remember, you can join our threesome by sending your questions, thoughts, and words of love to us at threesome@heretv.com or call us at 212-453-1653. I'm Stoya, and you better
Work.